This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today. Hello guys and welcome to another episode of the Middle Ages Comic Book Hour. This is episode number 16. We've been doing 16 episodes, Brian. This is our third comic book series.
Yeah, well, it doesn't feel like 16 episodes. Oh,
I miss Sweet Tooth, but I'm also excited to dive into Ironman because I read issue
from
1.
A comic of few words to a comic of a lot of words.
All the words. And you'll definitely notice the feeling that it's a lot longer. And yeah, look, this is my first time reading it, so you're getting the Jamie experience, and then you're getting the Ryan's. Been a while.
Well,
but he's
I haven't
rereading
read it for I probably read it about 6 years ago, so it's still
when it was first released. Yeah.
No. I don't even think I was alive when it was first released, to be honest with you. But no, I read it. I think the first time, because I did about 5 or 6 years ago. I was doing a deep dive into comics and the characters that I liked, and some of the more important backstories.
Yeah.
And then this one came up as like the pivotal Ironman story, because it's not only is he real enemies, but he's also dealing with, being a drunk.
Yeah. Just quickly, it was released in 1978.
There you go. So that was 4 years before I was born. I just jumped into the comic to see, but I've got the edition that was released in 2010, so they've covered it over to 2010.
I've got the hard copy.
Pivotal. It's a very pivotal story in the man. This is pretty much where he sort of turns everything around, because you and not to get too full on, but it's illegal to drink drive here.
Yeah.
It's illegal to drink drive in the world. So imagine drink driving, but instead of a car, you've got an Ironman suit.
Yeah,
and you're absolutely moto every single time.
That's it.
So that's essentially what this story is about, and it does the thing that comics back in the 70s and 80s do. It has where, the first issue barely touches on the alcoholism. Like there's one mention of it when he's in a plane. The lady says, "Oh, do you think you've had enough?" And he's like, "No." But that's really all. You think, am I reading the right comic?
Yeah.
Because, of everything that's going on. But that's the way that storytelling happened back then. It wasn't just bang. That's why this story arc is 9 issues and not 5.
Yes.
Because it's the way that they told stories back then. So,
buckle in, guys. We've got 9 episodes of this, and it's well worth it, from what I can tell.
Definitely.
But before we dive into that, as always, check out. We've got 2 sponsors. We've got Martin Kearns. We've got Rebecca Cassells. They're both authors. They're not comic book writers, but they write brilliant stories. I think Martin Kearns could write some pretty good comics, to be honest.
Oh, definitely. With his fantasy, I reckon he'd be a really good horror writer, to be honest with you, with his twisted mind that he doesn't show very often. He'd be a great fantasy writer, of course, because that's what he does. But his fantasy has hints of little twinges of getting into the darker side of things, which I like.
That's cool.
But on Rebecca Cassells, I think this is breaking news. She's released I think she's making and releasing some jewelry based off the Rising Dawn series. So make sure you check out links that I'm sure Jamie will post.
Yeah. Yeah, all of her links are in the show notes as well as Martin Kearns. But she's actually launching a website too.
Yes.
She's doing a little giveaway. If you head over to our Facebook or head over to her Facebook, all the information will be on there. And yeah, we apparently we get our own page on her website.
Oh my!
So yeah, we are well into this friendship and partnership, or however you want to call it. She has been a long-time supporter. Even her husband supports us.
We are the Cavill to her Henry.
Oh yes, that is right. That is. Oh, and in comic book news, we're going to dive into comic book news. But if you guys have been listening a while, you know we mentioned Henry Cavill the most. But when Chris is on, and he'll be back on soon, he's just been in hospital with some hospital-y stuff. But he's a tough cookie.
Every 12 months, they have to extract the darkness from his soul. Yes. Otherwise, he will take over the world.
That's it.
We plunge into eternal darkness. So I'm really glad he recovered well from it this time. I did visit him in the hospital, and the darkness was completely gone by the time I saw him. So,
and when I caught up with him, because Michael visited him too, he did not remember.
Yeah,
he was that far out of it. He was that drugged up. But he's doing well. He's doing well. But when he's on, sorry, there's a moth flying around my computer.
Darkness is you now, Jamie.
Yes, when Chris is on, he talks a lot about Cat Graham.
Yes.
Now we have this. I can't believe it's almost been a year since I met frickin' Kevin Eastman and Jamie Johnson. We've got to catch up with him soon. But Cat Graham's coming to Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris is freaking out because he's like, "Oh, don't meet your heroes." I'm going, I'm at mine.
Constantly listening to 8 Mile, Lose Yourself by Eminem, one chance, one shot, one opportunity. You never let it go. But, look, I'm happy because I didn't even know what she looked like until you sent that poster through. Like, okay. Yeah, okay.
And her name wasn't written there, so you're probably like, okay.
All the others were, so I assumed that was her when you said, hey, Chris. I was because I was more impressed by James Masters. I was like, I love that guy. He's so amazing as Brainiac. He's one of my favorite iterations, even including the animated of Brainiac in Smallville, Spike in Angel and Buffy, which I grew up on, and a whole bunch of. I would love to meet. I think he's a top bloke. So, I was more interested in that.
We actually found it. Me and Chris worked on a few screenplays, and one of them we never really finished. But it would have been a masterpiece, and I still want to do it. And we our dream casting was James Masters in it.
So it would have been a master's piece.
Yes, it would have been. It was roughly we started working on it when The Last Jedi came out. Before The Last Jedi disappointed us, but like when that first trailer came out and it looked epic. So we wrote a movie called The Last Guitarist, and it was like. Synth and electronic had taken over the world, and the big bad girl was called Sonia, and she was modeled off Gwen Stefani. And Chris is in love with Bon Jovi, so obviously there was like a rock band, and she was in the rock band, and then she went off into and became like all synth, and he's like, no, we need raw music, and what do we call him? We called him Billy Shrine. We called. It was like this combination of like I think it was Billy Idol. Trying to like Billy Idol, but it was like it's a world, and it had like the synth troopers, so it was like Star Wars meets. It was so crazy, but it's hard to explain, but it's hilarious.
Speaking of movies that were really good in the trailer and act rubbish. When they came out, I had the unpleasure of watching Monkey Man the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Who's in it?
Dev Patel.
The guy I know Dev Patel.
Other movies. Basically, every movie where they go, we need a good-looking Indian protagonist. Let's get Dev Patel. But my thing was, it was written by Jordan Peele, who was one of my from Key, gone on to write horror, and I'm like, okay, cool. The trailer looked badass. Steph enjoyed it, but I couldn't. No. It's basically John Wick meets it's got the John Wick violence, but for me it just wasn't enough to get me through. I was like, yeah, it was a solid probably two out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy it at all. There was so many moments where I wasn't interested. I was on the computer, I was on my tablet or whatever. But yeah, that trailer looked badass, and I was like, I was almost ready to make that the first movie I saw outside of the house in a
Yeah.
year. And then I was like, glad I watched it on the high seas because it was horrible.
Yeah.
I stand like yeah. I was pumped to watch it too, and it was a piece of crap to be honest with you. So Jordan Peele, I don't know what happened, man. If you just wanted to do it, if that was just an indie
Yeah.
idea that you had, stick to what you're good at.
Yeah.
I'm frank about it. Like I say, I love Jordan Peele's first three movies: Get Out, Us, and Nope. Were fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them. Amazing, and he's amazing in Key and Peele. He's not very often do you get to see someone who goes from comedy to horror so well. And he was absolutely fantastic in with all those movies. So I don't know what happened there, man. Whether he was just too high or whatever. But yeah, this just was a big fat no for me, unfortunately. But a good movie that I did watch today. Because today was a bit of a movie day for me. I was trying to we were watching movies that I hadn't seen before, and I know you've probably seen it, and Steph had seen it, but I hadn't, and that was Beast with Idris Elba.
I haven't. No.
Haven't? It's on Prime for free.
Yeah, no, it's on Prime. I've seen it on Prime, but I haven't watched it. Yeah.
I'm a big Idris Elba fan. He's one of the best African American actors out there at the moment. I reckon he Denzel Washington.
He's just one of the best actors out there, to be honest.
Well, yeah, exactly. I shouldn't really say that, but Denzel Washington was one of my all-time favorites, and I'm getting really good Denzel vibes from Idris Elba. The movie was great. Basically, it's him and his his wife's died from cancer. Him and his two daughters go and visit their friend in South Africa. He works in like with lions and stuff, and this guy goes over and lions know him, they hug him, and you know what I mean. They're one of those guys. And then basically the poachers out there as well. Hijinks ensues. And yeah, it was a really, really good movie. I think it only went for just over an hour and a half, but it was amazing. I really, really enjoyed it. Not just Idris Elba, the performances from the two girls that play his daughter to the guy that plays his best friend, who gets attacked by the lions and poachers, and it was a fantastic film, man. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I was kind of doing stuff on my computer, doing some like admin shit for my NDIS. And I had to just turn the computer off, and I was like, okay, watch this movie because it's absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't seen it and you're in Australia, it's probably on Prime in America too. But if you're in Australia, it's on Prime. If you've got Prime, you can watch it for free. And that's Beast, starring Idris Elba.
Beast. Yeah. No, I watched, what was it? The last Mission Impossible yesterday.
Oh, Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Yeah. Good. Like, I was surprised. Like, it was better than and I know this is sacrilege, better than the Henry Cavill one. you know?
Okay. Because I think that's on Paramount Plus, yeah?
Yeah. Or Prime, one other. I got both of them, but they're linked. So, no, I was surprised. And it's more so the action sequences. They're old school. They're classic. Like long car chases and, crazy stunts. I mean, there was a final train like this cliche train thing, and it was basically I'm going like this is the best train scene ever is the Wolverine with Hugh Jackman in Japan, which was actually Parramatta.
Parramatta.
Yes. It was basically that. It was a combination of that and the opening of Uncharted, the second Uncharted game. It was just and a touch of Jurassic Park there. Oh no, Lost World Jurassic Park. It's just.
Well, I've been putting off watching it because I haven't watched the last two, and I'm kind of worried that if I haven't watched the last two, I'm not going to pick up on everything that happened.
No, I don't think you need to. It's like a brand new. You don't need to. I mean, there's a new character from the other ones, but you'll get the drift.
Well, I know the essential characters from the first 3 or 4.
Yeah, well, there's just a villain that was in the other ones.
Okay.
But you know
Well,
they
look,
do
I'm not opposed
they
to come back to them. They were great movies. I just haven't had the chance to. You know what I mean? That,
no, well,
for
look,
whatever reason, any streaming services, they don't have them all on one.
yeah, I know, yeah,
I'm looking for.
yeah, but no, you don't need to. I'm pretty sure you don't need to because it had been a while since I watched the other ones, and
Well, speaking of as well, I actually watched that the other day.
which one?
And the second, well, it's the second one that's called The Wolverine with the Silver Samurai and stuff.
Yeah.
With that train chase. And I think if you listen close enough, you can actually hear "Next stop, Paramata" in the when they're going. No, but that obviously Wolverine Origins wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. But I feel like they made it up with the second one a little bit.
The second one's phenomenal. I don't care what they say.
It's in Japan, and it's Japan, Australia.
Yeah.
But I believe I've wanted so many comics will take a break from modern Wolverine stories and jump back to that Japanese era Wolverine, around World War II when the bombs were in Hiroshima. Yeah. And I'm really glad that they decided to take a risk and do that in a movie because I think, frankly, that's probably one of the best Wolverine movies. Obviously, we know the best one we have is Logan, but I cannot put the others with Logan because there's so much of a difference. Yes. Whereas I feel the second best one is the Wolverine because I really enjoyed the story behind that.
Yeah. And that's when Hugh Jackman really got ripped. Like, got ripped.
Yeah. But just that one scene running through the village at the end and, he's fired upon from archers and stuff like that. And it's so video game comic book-esque that, you're getting the final and you're heading to the final boss and, troops. Like I was playing I finished Resident Evil 8 last night and there's a scene in that, exactly the same. You're trying to run to the top of the stronghold. You've got people shooting arrows of fire at you, keep pushing on. And that was such a good scene that, as well as the train scene in that movie as well. It's amazing. But it's it's a very underrated movie. I think a lot more people should watch it. And I think a lot more people were disappointed with Wolverine Origins. Where they tried to cram as much. But keep that in mind, fans. If we didn't have Wolverine Origins, we would have gotten Deadpool. I don't think. We've got from from Deadpool, I believe.
And it's all been undone too. Deadpool undid it all at the end of Deadpool 2.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So
speaking of that, did you see the latest clip from Deadpool 3?
No, I haven't yet. No, I know you said.
It's like 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds. It's like Wolverine telling Deadpool to put his mask back on while they eat because it makes him sick, kind of.
Oh no, I've seen that. Yeah, I have seen that one. I did see it on YouTube.
And then after that, they see Giant dead at Ant-Man, and Deadpool goes, Paul Rudd's finally aged.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that guy's a vampire for sure. Yeah. He just does not. He does not act at all. I think he's dead set made a Crossroads deal, and that. It's just you look at photos from him back when he did Knocked Up. Oh, not Knocked Up, a 40-Year-Old Virgin, which we're looking at like 15, 16 years ago. Yeah. And now he looks the same.
Yeah.
So, that man's made a deal with someone somewhere.
Yeah.
At least not aged for 50 years.
He's probably got the same guy as Keanu Reeves or someone, because
most definitely.
Reeves doesn't age either.
It now a little bit. I did see an interview with him on I think it was one of the late night shows. I can't remember with who, but it was recent. And they were like, what movie, if you had a chance to go back, what movie would you like to do a sequel to? And he said Constantine straight up. He feels like he could do a sequel to that now and it'd still be pretty good. But I'd like to see him as an old Constantine and Matt Ryan as the taking over the mantle, because Matt Ryan was a perfect Constantine in my opinion.
He literally was. He was straight out of it. Oh man, it was just
he did the animated stuff and he did that one season. He was obviously in the Arrowverse, but he did that one season of Constantine was probably one of the best.
It's perfection. I don't know why he didn't get a second season. It's just like ridiculous.
I didn't think there was anything wrong with that, any episode in that whole first season.
He walked straight out of the comic book.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then you find that later on now in the comics now, they kind of modeled Constantine on Matt Ryan a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the Robert Downey Jr. effect we were talking about. They start to model the character on it. And then, I just don't understand why he had a few cameos back in the last season of Legends of Tomorrow, and that was it.
Yeah. That's disappointment. You know, he was in Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Really?
He was the protagonist.
Okay. Oh, there you go. I haven't,
and it's funny because that character that he played was modeled off Chris Hemsworth. Like you could just tell. You could just tell it looks like Chris Hemsworth, but it's the voice. Okay. It's the voice of Matt Ryan.
Very nice.
All right, let's crack into these news. We've got a lot of news.
Cool.
So, are you aware of this band called Fall Out Boy, Ryan?
No, I never heard of them ever. I've only been to one of their shows, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you may have seen a guy on stage playing. I don't know. This is what's bad. Does Pete Wentz play bass? That's what I thought, and I know his name. He's the only one in Fall Out Boy that I know his name.
Yeah, Patrick. One is the singer.
Patrick. Yeah, that's it.
It's because it's weird because you never hear a name of a punk rock or like a rock alternative guy named Patrick. Yes. It's like the dude SpongeBob SquarePants.
No, the singer of the starting line is called Ken.
Ken, you don't hear that.
Yeah.
Ken.
I love
That's my dad. Man. That was popular like 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah. He looks like a Ken.
There's another one where I thought, there's a wrestler, right? There's a wrestler. Because I haven't been on social media much this week because there was a big pay-per-view in France, so I was watching that. Mm-hmm. There's a wrestler, right, and his name's AJ Styles, but his real name is Alan. Like Alan. And that's why he goes by AJ.
Yeah.
But Alan, imagine Alan. And he's champion Alan.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't suit.
I know. I want to see that. I want to see like some new up-and-coming wrestler, and he's just like, everybody, Steven.
Or Barry.
Barry.
Barry the Brawler.
No, what is the most... John. Just John.
Oh, you got John Cena.
Jonathan.
Jonathan Cena. Jonathan Cena. That's what his mum calls him when he's in trouble.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jonathan Cena.
Yeah. Anyway, the bass player of Fall Out Boy, Patrick Wentz, he's got a comic book coming out.
Pete Wentz. Yeah, I got you confused now.
Pete Wentz, yeah. Peas. Yeah. He's got a comic book, and it's with... Okay, let me pull it up.
It looks very emo in keeping with his style.
Yes. Vault Comic. Have you heard of the Vault Comics?
Not really, no. They must be a pretty old publisher because I'm pretty across all the publishers.
Okay, so he's co-writing his first graphic novel with Hannah Klein called Dying Inside. And it says there's very little disclosed on the project. I
think we saw the cut. You sent me the cover and it looked pretty. The cover had me interested.
Yeah. I'll put the link in the show notes. There's a few opening scenes too, and it's just it looks like just a girl in a room being very emo. She's just a small town girl. So they don't know.
Look, I think it'll get money across because it's Pete Wentz and there's still little emo girls that have turned into little emo housewives. Housewives be like all over it. I'd give it a go. I need more before I would actually pay money.
Like there's not even a synopsis of it. It's like the front cover is a girl, and I'll put the link in the show notes so you guys can see it. The front cover is a girl with red eyes, black hair, and a sword sticking right through her chest, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But she seems to be like, oh. Like there's situations where in a movie where people are fighting over the gun and the bullet goes off, and then and then one of the guys are like, oh, I've been shot. And you're going, it's so cliche, but it's always
it's Pete Wentz. That's going to sell. Hannah Klein's a pretty good author. She does a lot of independent stuff. Like she does a lot of independent stuff for Image Comics, especially back around the big-chested Rob Liefeld era, which I like to call Wildstorm and all that. Chris is a big Wildstorm fan because all the ladies had big boobies and they wore very little. So, I think that's why Chris loved it. But yeah, look, she's got some backing behind her. So if she's co-writing it, which generally when this happens, it usually means Pete goes, this is my idea. And she goes, okay, I'll turn it into a graphic novel.
Yeah, that's cool.
For Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance. He's actually a really good comic book writer. He does a lot of he wrote The Umbrella Academy, which turned into a really good TV show and everything. So that's probably his biggest claim to fame.
Yeah.
But done a whole bunch of he did a little bit for Marvel for a while, which was quite good. Yeah. He tends to delve in the supernatural kind of stuff too. So look, hats off to him, man. If it's a passion of his and he wants to get across it, why not?
Yeah. I think from memory, someone from Yellowcard was doing a comic book too at some point, or he did cover of something. I don't know.
Okay.
I think some.
No, I can't. I honestly couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I don't.
I might quickly do the Google.
Yeah. So let's just talk amongst yourselves while Jamie does some research.
6 years ago.
Okay.
It doesn't say what it is. Oh, Venom.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, Enter the Venomverse.
Oh yeah, that was basically a Spider-Verse thing they did with Venom, where a whole bunch of Venoms from different universe came, and you know the drill. So that gave a lot of artists and writers a chance that weren't mainline Venom writers. Gave them a chance to do a quick story or a cover, like Jamie Johnson, even for Last Ronin, they got a chance to do a cover and stuff like that. So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, I can't find much on it. 6 years old, but mustn't have been a huge hit. But in other news, something that popped up that was somewhat interesting and a little bit out there, as crossovers do. There is a new indie comic called, IDW. Godzilla comic book called Godzilla Skate or Die.
That a crossover with the old game, Skate or Die?
Oh, apparently. Some French comic book artist. And it's literally like, it has a cover. Oh, yeah, one of the covers is like a rollerblader jumping through Godzilla's mouth. Just looks so random.
What? The Godzilla crossovers are normally pretty spot on. Yeah. But I think I might give it a miss.
It looks weird, man. But the thing is, the art looks pretty cool. Like, it's so 90s skater, you know? And yeah, the artist, what's his name? He's French.
I don't have very much time to, like you would think I do, but I don't have much time to read comics lately anyway.
You're very selective. His name's Junie Barr. I think he's a bit of an indie one. He did a series called Monkey Meat.
Okay.
But I really like his animation style.
Okay.
So I might check it out one day. I'm not like I don't have much time to read. I don't have that much time to read as well. But I'm always editing or writing or something. But it was just a random thing that popped up. You know.
I know, right? That seems very.
It's just Godzilla Skate or Die. It's just.
I mean, they're just coming off Godzilla versus a Justice League, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Godzilla Skate or Die, bro.
Yeah. It looks like skateboard art, really. So I don't know. I might look at it.
Look, if it comes on one of my sites and I get a bit of a preview and I look at it, I might give it a go. But I mean, I'm not going to be running out the door.
No, you're not going to run out. I just thought it was funny, you know, because I'm an old school skateboarder, and
that's it. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to skate Godzilla though. Like, I'm not like I'm going to jump through his mouth because it would close on me, you know, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
But the other thing, now I put this in our group chat because it's so flippin' awesome. X-Men 97, The Mansion, is an Air BNB.
I know, it looks pretty badass.
They've you saw the video where it took you right through the tour. Like, everything's like 2D animated, but you know, you can sit on it and you can. There's the head outside the front of the.
It looks like I've seen some pretty corny like Batman B&Bs and stuff like that, but that actually is pretty impressive. Like I would pay money for that.
Yeah. Every nook and cranny of the mansion is vibrantly colored with bold comic book sketch lines applied to surfaces to make it feel like you're actually in an episode of the X-Men 97. Portraits of Charles Xavier, Magneto, Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Gambit, Bishop, Beast, and more adorn the entryway. As you go inside, you're greeted by 3 X-Men trainees who guide you through the experience.
That just takes you back to Deadpool, and it's like, we can't afford the real X-Men, get the trainees.
Yeah. No, they're out on mission. Oh wow. So first you'll ascend a winding staircase in the tour.
Well, I'm out.
Hey,
Wow, that's really wheelchair accessible. Fuck you, Marvel.
no, it would be because Charles
It would
Xavier.
have to be for Professor Xavier.
You would be able to use Xavier's chair.
The yellow. I want the yellow chair.
Okay. Wolverine's room is covered in claw marks on the walls, no doubt caused by some razor sharp and adamantium rage. His closet holds his civilian clothes, including a red flannel shirt and boots. And man, I'd be stealing stuff.
I wanna see that photograph from that meme that's got Scott and Jean together. That when he's always in bed and he's just stroking it. Yeah. I want to see that photograph on his bedside table.
It would. A pair of samurai swords is hanging in his room. A token of past X-Men missions are mounted above the bed, and on his bedside table is a framed photo of Cyclops and Jean.
There you go. Yay! They're winning in my books at the moment.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Jubilee's bedroom, Beast's bedroom doubles as a science lab, and visitors are taught by an instructor how to make tutti frutti drinks. Wow, that's very X-Men. Oh, there's a danger room. The danger room is the final stop on the tour. A super strong trainer will help you awaken your mutant abilities with some exercise warm-ups. It's like, come on, we're going to do some star jumps.
Come on, it's really just Arnold Schwarzenegger that bad in for money. He's like, do it now.
Do it now. It's not a tumor.
Activate your X gene.
Yeah. And then that was so good. And then it says that after that you'll be led into Charles Xavier's office and say goodbye to your guides as they're whisked away to battle some Sentinels. Dinner and breakfast the next morning will be prepared for you. You'll have the rest of the night to hang out.
I like that. They're whisked away to battle some Sentinels, but you're just going to have a cup of tea and some scones.
And you get to hang out. But you're not there yet. You're not there yet, man. But man, I seriously want to go.
Where is it?
It's in America somewhere. Hang on, I got to go right back up at the top.
No, it's probably you're going to say Westchester, which is where the actual.
It is. Westchester, New York.
Okay, while we're talking X-Men 97, I need to have a conversation.
Okay.
I've actually started binging this show.
And it's good.
It is phenomenal. It's really good. They've gone down the route of Sinister, and it literally up just as the last one finished. So, spoiler alert, it's said in the first episode, the last episode of the original X-Men cartoon, Professor Xavier is killed by the leader of the mutant, I forget his name, but the leader of the mutant, he's the human, and then it literally picks up from there, but it's just I'm up to episode 5, and it's amazing. So, and it's not like, I was worried that it was going to be, because I tried to rewatch the X-Men cartoons when they were on Disney Plus initially, and I just couldn't get, animation was so bad back then, which is fine because it's 20 odd years, 30 years, almost 30 years ago. Yeah. So I can forgive it, but the animation's been brought up to date, and you know what? I was really worried about that whole morph being genderless. They don't even talk about it. Yeah. It's just he looks like the chameleon because rather than being the guy, he's just like the genderless chameleon, but they don't talk about it. They don't go, oh, you're non-binary, No, it's not. It's just there, which is how it should be. You know what I mean? But man, the stories, like the first 2 episodes are just bang, bang, hit in the face. Cool. They're not playing off nostalgia, which, they really could do. They could go, hey, I'm blah, blah. They're telling a good story. And for you, Jamie, episode 6 has
Ninja Turtles.
That era Spider-Man.
Oh.
So, and they're leading it into a possible continuation of that Spider-Man cartoon. And it's done really well, I will say.
Oh.
Yeah, Mike, seriously.
Yeah.
No, but I was sleeping on this show, and I think a lot of people are. Yeah. But do yourself a favor, if you're an X-Men fan, regardless of whether it's from the 90s or from now, the story that they're telling is phenomenal. They're not going the whole Magneto route, which is the easy nostalgia thing. They're working with Mr. Sinister, which in my opinion is one of the best villains in X-Men history. it's really good. So I just thought, since we were talking about it, if you're sleeping on it and you've got Disney Plus, watch it. You know what? If you want to get it from the high seas and watch it, do that because it's that good. So I would recommend, honestly, if you're a fan of the X-Men comics, of X-Men in general, jump on it, man, because it's amazing.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here.
You heard it here first. Check it out. I think the finale is coming up this week. I think it's a very short season, 8 episodes, 9 episodes or something. Yeah, but look, that's what they're going to do now. That's what TV is all about now. Let's
laziness.
just get the smallest amount of episodes as we can. Another thing, and this is not comic related. Well, technically it is because it's Ryan Reynolds. Welcome to Wrexham season 3 started.
Mm-hmm.
First episodes are out. Amazing. I never was a massive soccer fan, but between Ted Lasso and this show, I've been full back into soccer. So check it out. Welcome to Wrexham. If you don't know what it is, it's a documentary about a really low-level soccer team that Ryan Reynolds and Rob, I can never pronounce his last name, but McKelty, something. But he's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia and from Mythic Quest, and they brought a soccer team together, and their goal was to get them up to nationals. They've now surpassed that, and they've gone past nationals. And it's a great. The show, honestly, the show is a great feel good show. 2 episodes dropping every Friday on Disney Plus in Australia. I'm sure it's very similar in America. So I recommend a lot more people watch that because I want it to keep going forever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it will, because once they reach the top, it's kind of like.
Well, then they've got nowhere to go but down, and then it'll just be going. They've watched the downfall, and then you watch them rise again.
Yeah, but that's a bit. I think maybe they're going for they're going for 5 seasons. The 5 seasons, perfect 5 seasons.
Yeah, you and your 5 season rule. I get you.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying 5 seasons.
Scrubs.
Hey. Scrubs. No, Scrubs is 8 seasons.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. They're 5 seasons. Scrubs went to 8 because it was that good.
Yes. But,
didn't it go to 9, but we just don't talk about 9?
Exactly. They wanted 9 to be a spin-off, but the studio said, no, it's not a spin-off. That's why it's called
Med School.
Yeah, it's called Scrubs Season 9, Med School.
Yeah.
And if they did it as a spin-off, it would have been good. And it had who's I'm drawing a blank. Harry Osborn from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, James Franco. His brother's in it.
Oh, James Franco, yeah, cool.
His brother, his brother.
Oh, not Robert Franco. I forget. Yeah, but his brother, I honestly reckon's a better actor than James Franco.
Yeah, I really like him in those heist movies. What are they called? Now You See Me.
Gum Street, he was good in. It's good in that. Yeah, no, I've never watched it personally, but I've never finished Scrubs in its entirety anyway. So,
dude, once you get to the end of season 8, you'll understand why you want to stop. You want to stop.
Well, I guess like every time I watch it and I start from the start again, I get to the Brendan Fraser episodes, I bawl my eyes out and I'm like, I'm not emotionally ready for the rest of this.
Yes.
Honestly, if you think that a TV show can't make a difference in your life and can't make you feel things, watch the Brendan Fraser arc in that episode, the Brendan Fraser episode when he dies. Yeah. Watch that, and if you're not crying by the end of the episode, you have no soul sent back to hell.
Yes. That show, it really makes you feel. It is. Do you know they did a reunion recently, and the entire cast was walk. I think it was New York City. They were walking down New York City, and people doing a double take. Was that the entire cast of Scrubs? Like, it's one thing to see Zach Braff walk down the street, or Bill Lawrence walk down the street, but then you turn around and you're like, the entire cast of Scrubs is walking down the street.
Funny you mentioned that. Because I'm sleeping in the lounge room at the moment. I generally don't sleep much at night because of my pain, so I normally go to sleep at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So Steph will come out here in the morning, and one of the best things about me being deaf is she can watch TV out here and I'm still sleeping. Yeah. But she's watching Star Trek Next Generation, Patrick Stewart at the moment. And it was so funny. I think it was a morning last week. The guy who plays Bob Kelso has a cameo in Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, no
way.
I
just I sat up, and the first thing she heard me say was, Kelso! I just pointed at the screen. It's like, well, yes, Brian, Bob Kelso. I think he was I'm not sure, but I'm like, Kelso! And she's like, yes. Brian, go back to sleep. It's Bob Kelso. I'm like, okay.
It's Bob Kelso. Bob Kelso.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was funny to see him. Like, you see all the other guys in lots of stuff, but I don't see him in much old stuff. And it was just so funny. I was like, Bob Kelso as a Romulan.
A young Bob Kelso.
Anyway, we haven't even started talking about the comic yet. I think we've still got more news.
That's the last of the news I had. Unless you've got more news. Have you got any news?
Yeah, I do actually. You get the guy's name. The dude from Breaking Bad. And from Los Hermanos. Gianmarco.
Yeah, from Mandalorian too. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Moff Gideon from Mandalorian.
Yes,
and he's also one of the heads in charge in The Boys.
Mm-hmm,
I'm so sorry if you're listening to this podcast in the future when we're famous and big and making lots of money. I'm so sorry, we'll have good editing tech, so we'll go back and fix it. But if we don't, you're an amazing actor. But Gianmarco something. He's been cast in the MCU, which is a big deal because he's an amazing actor. In an unnamed role and an unnamed movie.
Yes,
there you go. Walter Hauser, I think it's Stingray from Cobra Kai.
Yes, Stingray. Yeah.
Fantastic Four movie. Again, they haven't told us. People are speculating Doctor Doom, which I think is hilarious. Imagine if Doctor Doom is Stingray and he's got his full little. Anyway, but he's been cast in a fantastic movie. We don't know who or what yet. So he's obviously not one of the four because we know who the four are. But yeah, we don't know who.
Imagine if he's Doctor Doom and he pulls it off. Like you're just going like, where did that come from?
Galactus. The biggest villain, and it's just his face. The bandana.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Whenever he comes on, you just see Bon Jovi living on a prayer. So that was.
Hey, and I guess if we're talking about that the guy from Cobra Kai, the final season 6 is dropping soon. 15 episodes.
Yeah, split into 3 freaking different lots.
Yeah, but you're getting 5 episodes in, that's a whole season.
I don't think it's going to be weekly, man. I don't think it's going to be weekly.
It's not going to be weekly, but you're getting 5 episodes in one block.
Yeah, they're doing they're doing the Stranger Things. Hey, we know this is the last season. We're going to split it up. Look, if it means that we get an amazing final season, because so far we haven't had a bad season. But
I don't see the problem in getting 5 episodes in a go.
Yeah, true.
And then here's another 5. Here's another 5. It's just I don't get it. I don't get the whole I want all of it now, and then you watch it all, and then you're like, and now what do I do with my life? You know, when you could have savored it, watched it out nicely. I mean, we didn't have trouble watching all of Resident Alien season 3.
Yeah, I know, but I got annoyed more with. I guess it was because I was excited. I got annoyed more with the massive break between season 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And then I guess I was like, okay, we're getting it weekly. That's fine now because it's been like 2.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I watched Knuckles just quickly. I watched that Knuckles show, and the Heather from Resident Alien, she was in it.
Okay. As a voice?
No, as a person.
Okay.
Look, it wasn't horrible, but it was not enough Knuckles, really. Like a lot of complaint there wasn't much Knuckles.
I really like the movies.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know if I.
Look, I enjoyed it. It's not the best thing I've ever seen. They saved all the budget for the last episode, obviously.
Okay.
But it's very slapstick. It's modeled off. Well, one of the main characters, I'm pretty sure he's got like a small role in the movie, whatever.
Okay. And
it's all based around him as like a clumsy cop. And so Sonic and Tails are in the first episode, and that's it. But look, it's a kids show. It is clearly a kids show. They do a lot of kids jokes and slapstick, funny stuff, and
yeah. See, that's what I liked about the movie. It was half. You could some of the jokes were for adults, some of them were for kids. So it was good when in watching those.
Yeah. But it kind of resonates. Like there's a strong message in it. Nothing woke about it. But I guess it kind of resonated with me because the guy was a klutz. He's like, what am I, I fail at all this stuff and yada, yada. And then he goes home to meet his Jewish mother and sisters there. And then he goes into his room and it's still as it was as a kid. And it's his Ninja Turtles bed sheet covers. And I'm going, this is so me, man. It's so me. But look, and Idris Elba was fantastic. Idris Elba. And there's just a lot of ridiculously funny stuff. Like Knuckles figuring out what am I doing? Like he's waiting around, like I'm a warrior, you know. And then he's dressed the family dog up in like a warrior costume, and he's like, I got to prepare him for battle. He's going to fight his greatest foe, the mailman. And he opens the door, and the mailman's bound and gagged. It's just
Look,
like
I think the fact that Idris Elba is still doing the voice, I might get me on board because, like I said before, I really like him.
I'll put it this way: it's worth a watch. It's only 6 episodes.
It's only 6.
Yeah, six or eight. I think it's only 6. It's 6. And it's got the Princess Bride guy. I think it's hilarious that and the Robin Hood Man in Tights guy. You know that guy, the very English guy.
He's got a weird name. You pronounce.
Yeah. Hey, I love him. I love him whatever he turns up in. Because he was in, like, I know one of my favorite shows is Psych, and he was in that, and it was like an art thief, and he was like very British, and it's just fantastic. But yeah, look, I think it's worth a watch. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Just don't expect it to be as good as the movies, and you'll be right.
Yeah.
There's no Jim Carrey, so
I'll definitely give it. I've got nothing at all else to watch.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's only 6 episodes, and if you don't like it, turn it off. It's that simple. Anyway, let's talk about Iron Man. What do you reckon?
I think it's about time.
Now, just so you know that because I watched the movies of Iron Man before I read the comics of Iron Man, all Iron Man words and dialogue will be read by Robert Downey Jr. or in the voice of Robert Downey Jr. Because he really was the perfect casting for that.
Oh, definitely.
Now, unlike our last series that we read, Sweet Tooth, this has actually it's written by more than one person.
I think it's got more words in the first page than Sweet Tooth had in a whole.
It's in entirety in the entire omnibus, 52 issues. No, so it is written by David Michelini and Bob Layton,
and it's also drawn by comic book royalty in the artist John Romita Jr. He is one of the key Marvel artists. From the 70s all the way through to 2000s. He's done Wolverine, he's done the Avengers, he's done everything. So he is, that style of art is very prevalent. If you look at the same kind of comics from around the 80s to the 90s, you will see a lot of John Romita Jr. And then he jumped over to DC and did a lot of Superman, which was phenomenal.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of characters that are familiar in this one. You got Rhodes. Yeah. Rhodes is in it. You've got the first appearance of Hammer Industries.
Yep.
No tiny little pen called the ex-wife in it, is there?
Yeah.
No. Was in your opinion, just before we dive in, I know there's controversy about the second Iron Man film, like it's not as good, and I do feel like I can't think of his name, like the villain, the Whiplash, the actor.
Mickey Rourke.
I do feel like he may have been robbed a little bit of, the character, just because he's supposed to be like super intelligent. And they
100%.
They don't really lean into why he's super. He just is,
No, they don't. They just hint that his father worked on the Iron Man suit with Howard Stark.
Yeah, not
the Iron Man suit, the core technology.
Yeah. But what did you think of Justin Hammer?
Look, obviously they de-aged him massively in the movie.
Yeah,
because he always has been an older gentleman, Silver Fox kind of guy. The guy that plays Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell, is one of Matthew Holmes' favorite actors. Yeah. He was the guy that he would die to get him into one of his movies. Yeah. And Sam Rockwell is an amazing actor. You remember him as the crazy American general in Jojo Rabbit. Yeah. You know that he was amazing in that as well. But yeah, I was happy with him. Like the casting was good. Obviously, you're not going to you're going to de-age him. You have to de-age him, otherwise it just wouldn't have worked. But yeah. I'm quite happy with Sam Rockwell.
But you know what the greatest thing Sam Rockwell has ever been in?
What's that?
1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Yeah.
With one line. No, I think it's got 2 lines.
In the area where they had all the skateboard ramps and the
got any cigarettes? Regular or menthol? That was his only line. And then at the end, he's like, check out the warehouse. It's like too late. It's probably the first thing he ever did, you know. But I would be proud for that to be my first movie. I'm just saying.
Oh, definitely.
I'm just saying. Fantastic. Yeah, but there's also Nick Fury, Spy Master.
A White Fury, which a lot of our listeners probably are not used to.
Not used to. Yeah, no.
Basically, just a quick rundown on what happened. So, the original Nick Fury was white. He basically had in the comics now. Nick Fury is the Samuel L. Jackson black gentleman. So basically, that Nick Fury had an affair with a African American lady back in the late 70s, and that's how Black Nick Fury came along. But yeah, this has the original white Nick Fury. In a lot of our listeners and readers are probably not too familiar with.
Yeah. But also one that I was surprised, but just opening it up, Namor.
Yeah, Submariner, Namor,
Yeah.
And it makes sense as you go through the issue, why he's in it, why he's actually in this particular issue.
Yep. Well, I'm going to begin reading this synopsis for this much, much longer issue. And chime in whenever you like, Ryan.
Sure.
The Invincible Iron Man. It's not just Iron Man. It's the Invincible Iron Man.
Iron Man.
It's the days of, the amazing Spider-Man, not just Spider-Man.
Yeah, the amazing adjectives.
The adjective.
The war of the adjectives.
The thunderous Thor. No, I don't know if that's true. But,
that probably was one, to be honest with you.
What, the thunderous Thor?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I can't confirm, but that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yes. It was a great era. All right.
That was the era where everyone's name had to, Peter Parker, Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
All those kind of.
And then they went all out with James Jonah Jameson or whatever his name is. Yeah, Triple J.
And that was when they got exhausted and said, okay, now let's do Steve Rogers, Tony Stark.
Yeah. Like, calm down, All right. Okay. Tony Stark is aboard a passenger jet flying back to the United States from France. He is angered beyond measure after discovering that his so-called allies in S.H.I.E.L.D. have been secretly buying up stock in Stark International with the intention of taking control of the company. To cool his nerves, Tony begins downing several martinis.
I'll chime in here. This is the one and only mention where you think, hold on, isn't this a story about Tony Stark's alcoholism? This is what Marvel did in the 70s and the 80s. Yeah. They just dropped a little thing and go, yeah, let's include this in the 9-issue series because there was one mention of him having too much to drink.
Yeah.
So, yes.
It's the build-up, and it's what they call in the author world foreshadowing, Okay, things become decidedly odd when a passenger notices an army tank flying towards the window of the jet.
Yeah, because that's something that you don't generally see every day.
Hey, Marge, is that a army tank flying through the air there?
And that's literally, and my God, so I'm on the issue now. I'm trying to find when Tony Stark has obviously jumped, he's gone to the loo because that's the best place to hide the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And how's this? A lady calls him a Philistine.
Yes,
that's something that comics nowadays, back from the 70s, a Philistine.
Yeah, that's
I don't know what a fucking Philistine is, but it mustn't be good.
It's I think it's like a biblical, insult or something. I don't know. Yeah, so the vehicle slices through the wing of the aeroplane and it goes into a tailspin. As the passengers begin to panic, Tony races to the bathroom so that he can change into his Iron Man armor.
And gets called a Philistine.
Yes. He flies outside and helps level the plane, bringing it safely down to the water near an island in the South Atlantic Ocean.
Wasn't lucky Tony Stark was on board.
Yes. It's always the way, A U.S. Special Forces unit arrives to help rescue the passengers. Iron Man angrily questions one of the soldiers about the flying tank, and the man tells him that the vehicle was not flying, but was in fact thrown.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Iron Man flies to the island where he discovers that the perpetrator of the flying tank incident is none other than Prince Namor, the Submariner.
Yeah, I have a lot of Americans say Submariner, and it's definitely not. It's Submariner.
Submariner.
Because if Submarine, there'd be no hyphen, and it will be spelled a hell of a lot differently. I apologize, Jamie. I'm trying to make you a better person.
know.
It's my biggest pet when people mispronounce comic stuff like that. That's so
Yeah.
important.
Well, keep doing it because I'm learning. I'm here to learn.
If you do it again, I'm leaving the podcast.
All right. Well, if you leave the podcast, then I am not putting you in any more of my books.
Okay, I'll stay the podcast, but I'll be very angry about it.
I'm just saying, correct me when I'm wrong. Correct me because I'm, I don't know comic books as well as you. Anyway, Namor appears to be defending an elderly farmer named, correct me if I'm wrong, Hiram Dobbs.
It's Dobbs.
Dobbs. I'll just say Dobbs.
Hiram, such a comic book back then.
Iron Man wants to get Dobbs off the island since he knows that the military has been using it for radioactive waste disposal. That's very 70s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
As per tradition, Namor is unreasonable and refuses to listen to anything that Iron Man has to say to him.
Which honestly is Submariner on point. He is arrogant. He doesn't give a shit about anything else. It's his way, and he doesn't want to hear any reason. So that's spot on Namor writing there.
Yeah. The two begin fighting one another in the sky, and even the land-bound Dobbs takes a few shots at Iron Man with a rifle.
Yeah, I love how he thinks he's just got a small rifle, and I love how he thinks that he can just shoot Iron Man.
Yeah.
Full Ned Kelly style with like a tiny little slit across the mouth and the eyes.
Yeah.
And he's thousands of miles up in the air, and this hillbilly is just like, well, I'm going to shoot him down.
Well, you never know. That one stray bullet may, But the combatants grapple with one another, and their fight brings them down beneath the waves. Back at Stark International.
They were good at this in the 70s and 80s. Like, imagine like a fade swipe wipe or whatever you call it. Taking you back to Stark Industries.
Yes. Mrs. Arbogast receives word that Tony Stark's plane has crashed into the ocean. Rhodes and Bethany Cabe, I'm assuming, race towards the airfield in a desperate effort to help Tony out. Who's Iron Man, by the way? We've got to go help Iron. Elsewhere, a man named Justin Hammer conspires with his underlings on a scheme designed to take control of Iron Man's armor. They already tested phase 1 of the operation while Iron Man was aboard the SHIELD helicarrier. Now Hammer decides that it is time to test phase 2. While Iron Man is underwater fighting Namor, the sealing plates on his helmet spontaneously open and water begins rushing in. Iron Man begins to drown inside his armor. Bum-bum.
And one thing you will notice about these issues is there will be a cliffhanger, a life or death cliffhanger at the end of every single issue. I guarantee you that. It was like the Batman. Remember the Batman 66 show where every second episode would be, will Batman and Robin make it out of this pit of toxic lava? Tune in next week. Same back time, same back channel. So that's what it was like back then. I think this is a solid effort. Obviously, cameos there by James Rhodey, who eventually becomes Machine, Submariner, Justin Hammer. It's pretty much it, but it doesn't feel jam packed too. So you're getting a lot of key characters for your buck here on this.
That's it. What I love about the old way they used to write and stuff is it feels like you're reading like a screenplay almost, because it's got it describes what's going on. You can see what's going on. It's almost like even what they call where they do the Matthew Holmes is going to kill me for not remembering what this is called. Storyboarding. There you go. It's like storyboarding, and it would have been so easy just to go, okay, let's turn this into a cartoon. Let's turn this into
Well, that's the thing, because this was all hand-drawn stuff back in the day. A lot of the stuff now done by, CAD programs and CAD
digital
boards like we saw Jamie Johnson has. No, still the same amount of talent is required, but makes it look sharper and much better. So the images are so much better at telling the story than what the words are. Whereas back then they didn't have any of that kind of technology. It was all hand-drawn, on storyboards, and that was their way of telling the story with a hell of a lot of words, but also let's play it out like a screenplay. Yeah. I think it's a solid first issue. I was going to say first episode because we're talking like that, but solid first issue. really gets you in. And as I said, they were kings of the life or death scenarios at the end. So you got sick over that one, you ain't going to like this series. Pretty much always.
And look, you may love or hate me for saying this, but looking at this version of Submariner, I almost see a bit of John Cena there, you know? Like,
yeah, look, I could see it. I could say 100%. You know, like I don't think I would have given him the role because I think, and even in his stuff like in the Suicide Squad, he just looks too nice. And that's not what Submariner's about. You know, when I say nice, I don't mean he looks, oh my God, he looks hot. I'm saying he just looks like a nice guy. And even he's trying to be a bit of a badass, he just looks too nice.
Yeah,
and
I do see that.
Thing has hurt him because he's always been the baby face. He was never a heel. He was never a bad guy.
It's probably why he got ripped so big. He's just like,
I just think someone like the Submariner, you need someone with a bit of a badass. Like I'm not saying The Rock, but the character like The Rock, because The Rock can be a heel and he can be a face. He's got the ability to switch between the two. But you need someone with that ability to just not give a fuck. And I love John Cena. I don't think he has that in him. He's just such a nice guy.
Yeah, that's true. What about Alan Richardson? What about Reacher? What do you think? He's got a pretty nice face too. Yeah,
but I don't know. Look, this is going to make me sound insanely racist, and I know Disney will probably not like it, but Submariner needs to have sort of a Mediterranean look about it.
Yeah.
Because that's how it's always been in the comics.
Oh, okay.
The guy that played him in Wakanda Forever, I actually really liked. The look of him in terms of, you know, his profile and the whole Mayan thing was perfect to me. I enjoyed that guy. For no one, he'd been in barely anything. But I'm happy with him. If they was to say, hey, we're bringing him back, which it's fine by me.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but I think that's one of our longer middle ages.
Well, we're sticking to the hour-ish, so...
that's good. That's what we want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm not going to lie, I've read more than one issue.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones where you can read it multiple times in a couple of weeks because you miss.
I think I'll need to. And
do you know how to find where it started on the Marvel Unlimited app? Because there's no, like, you type in Demon in a Bottle on Google, and it brings up the first cover is no mention of Demon in a Bottle.
Yeah.
It's just a Submariner, and unless you've got the collected edition like you do.
Yeah.
And I ended up downloading a collected edition just to make sure I had the first issue.
Yeah.
There's no mention of it. Like nowadays, if you're part of an event, it's a big banner across the top saying, you know, Secret Wars tie-in or whatever.
Yeah.
But back then, it's like, and when you read the issue, there's literally one mention of alcohol. So I'm like, this can't be the first issue.
Yeah. I looked up. I'm on the Marvel database. Marvel.fandom.com, and it's just everything, you know.
100%. But I just even didn't trust them because there was no mention of it. Like I had to go and I ended up, as I said, downloading a copy of the trade paperback.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, so this actually is the first issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on the database, like you can click back and forwards to previous issues and stuff like that, and it says part of the Demon in a Bottle storyline. You know, it's like tiny writing. You know, so. But
at least now we know where it starts, and I know where it finishes. So I think we got from 120 to 128. So
that's it. Yeah.
I'm keen to get, but as I said, once I found it, I'd read the first 3 issues anyway because I just kept getting stuck in.
Yes.
So
100%.
I look forward to the next time we do this for issue number 2.
Yes. Well, if we're sticking to the way we're doing things now, it is fortnightly. So we're going to try and do interview with someone for the author world and the author side of things, and then we're going to do these comic book stuff because. Look, we're getting a lot of downloads for both of our episodes.
Yeah, you guys that are listening seem to really like these ones, so we're going to try and amp it up a little bit. So, especially while I'm not doing much, like I'm not working of the evenings. You know, if I'm at the hospital doing PT, it's always during the day. So we may as well, you know, pump them out. And if you guys are loving them, we're going to keep doing them, which you guys seem to from the numbers. So thanks for that.
You are listening and
get paid to read comics, and I've never been able to do that for my life. So thank you very much.
That's it. So guys, feel free to reach out at the true and the fictional. The true and the fictional gmail.com. That's the email.
Oh my God,
address. Yeah, I had a brain fart. Stories underscore podcast on Instagram or on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Reach out if you want to jump on as a sponsor. Follow the link in the show notes. buymeacoffee.com/STTATF.
Even if it's $1 a month, everything helps us provide, hosting costs, a little bit of money for us. Like we've been able to get better mics and stuff like that. So every little cent helps. So
yes, that's it.
$1 a month, we really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we've got you can even sign up for as little as $1 a month. Completely up to you. Any support, we would love it because we love doing this and it makes it a little bit easier with a little bit of help from you guys. And we, in the words of Ted Lasso, we appreciate you.
We do appreciate you.
Yes. Anyway, guys, next week we've got a interview coming out with Anthony Curl, Australian fantasy writer. Really good interview. He was really, really in depth with his world building. It was a fascinating chat.
Definitely.
And check it out. Coming out very, very soon.
Fantasy authors and how they build their worlds, and just a little sneak preview. This guy took 12 months to build his world before he even wrote a single word. So if you like that kind of stuff, jump on, have a download. I think that's coming out this Wednesday, isn't it, Jamie? In a couple of days.
Yes.
It's coming. Doesn't matter because they're not going to see this one. So just forget I said that. So in a week from today. Yes.
Of this being released, not. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Sorry, it's late. I got to get up at 4 a.m. So
yes.
Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time.
See you next time.
This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories The True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes.